What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Poker Rajas podcast. My name is Richard, and again, we have a very interesting guest today. Before that, I'm going to give a shout out to Poker Ninja for always supporting me. Do go to check out pokerninja.net, all their favorite promotions. Obviously, the Vegas promotion is happening, and lots of other exciting stuff. Go check them out. Uh, Today we have a very special guest because he's not a poker professional. At the same time, he takes poker very seriously. He's a passionate poker player. He's been showing some great results in tournaments, and he is a expat who plays poker recreationally, and he's sort of a semi-pro because he does really well at it. So all the way from Qatar, we have with us Leon Menezes. What's up, Leon?
Hey guys, hi Richard, how's it going?
You are from Qatar, or did I get that wrong?
Yeah, I'm actually based in Qatar. I'm in Doha.
Right, right. So you're obviously a Bombay boy, and so you've been in Qatar for how long?
To be frank, I left my house when I was 18. So yeah, I've
Wow.
been working since I was 18. Now I'm 32, so it's been a good 14 years, I would say, out of India. I was in UAE for around 7 years, and then probably around another 7 years in Qatar.
Wow, that's fantastic. So tell us, how did you discover the great game of poker?
I think you hear this a lot. It's been actually Facebook. Everyone's been playing Zynga. I mean, that's initially how the entire craze started. I mean, that's the initial, I would say, base where I started learning poker. Eventually, I got up to a point wherein I won the new shootout, which was like 2,000 coins or something like that. I won it for 500,000, and I was all excited in the middle of the night. Then a couple of days later, a friend of mine calls me. He's like, "I heard you've been playing, poker on Zynga. Wouldn't like to play real money." I think that's the point wherein everything changed. It was my first like a sit and go tournament. We were 16 of us. I landed up coming first. So yeah, made 100 reals into 4,000 reals. That's where it all started.
Are you serious? How do you do that? Like, I've never done that. Like my 16th tournament also, I didn't win. I'm sure. Like that's fantastic. So I mean, obviously when you're playing on Facebook, right? You're just clicking buttons, right? And so obviously you got invited to this house game, and you went there, you won, which is obviously fantastic, and a little surprising. But when was that point, like when you actually said, this is something that I'm good at, this is something that I actually can make money off? And when did you start taking poker like a little more seriously, and give more time to it?
Okay. So initially, like I said, Facebook started in 2007. 2009 was when I actually played my first live sit and go. Later on in 2012 was when I first joined Triple Eight. I mean, that was the only site I think that was unblocked, and we could actually access it and stuff like that. So when I joined Triple Eight, to be honest, the first few months I was down like $200 or something. Like I kept depositing, I kept losing it, and then I started reading stuff in I would say late 2012 about bankroll management, about things like what you should be doing, what you should not be doing. Basically, the ABCs of a tournament poker player. I think that's when I started taking things seriously. When I won my first tournament, which was a year after joining Triple Eight. Of course, I don't spend a lot of money online, so I normally deposit like $30 at a time, and I land up cashing up big time now. But yeah, it was a $1 tournament, and the payout gave me $180. That's when I said, okay, now there's something that I've done today, and I need to learn more about it. So I think that's when it all started.
Right. So you mentioned about reading poker, right? So what kind of books, or like, obviously there are a lot of people who watch the show who may not, be playing at the level that you are playing or the other players are playing. Like, what kind of books would you recommend to them, that might have helped you in the past?
Um, To be frank, it's not been books, it's been online forums. Okay, so I mean, reading stuff online. Although with regards to books, I mean, I think all the books from Moorman have been fantastic. You know, Moorman is like my online idol. I mean, lately he came up with a new book. I just can't recall the name. But you know, the information that is in there, trying to, I mean, you know, placing big bets when you have nothing, and playing tight when you're short stacked and stuff like that. So it was basically, you know, trying to analyze situation. There used to be a time when I used to get stuck being in the money, but I never reached the final table, and this happened for a period of like a good 4 to 5 months. I mean, my average, I would say, is 1 out of 3 tournaments I manage cashing. So you know, the moment I reach like in the money, that's when I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I don't know when to go aggressive. So that's when I started going onto the forums. There was this site called my888.com. I don't know if you guys have actually gone through it, but that's one place where we discuss strategy. I mean, we used to talk about. I was in the situation. I had an ace king. This guy shoved me. What should I have done? And then you have a list of comments. You had the pros as well talking over there. So there were a lot of guys who were making good money on Triple Eight, who were on that page, who were basically helping us to, you know, come up. I think that was a major turning point, and yeah, never looked back after that.
That's fantastic. I mean, so you did spend a lot of time playing on Triple Eight. When was the time that you transitioned to the Indian poker sites? Like, obviously, you've been playing on a couple of sites, and we've been seeing that you've been getting some results very consistently. And so when was that time that you know, you joined Indie sites, and like, what do you think about, you know, them in general?
I think the first time that I actually joined an Indian site, I'm not sure if it was Spartan or another one, but I think Shravan was one of the what did I say? What's the term used? Representatives from the site, or you know, one of the sponsored players. Yeah.
Right,
So
right, right.
and me and Shravan actually connected on Facebook, and I just seen this post of his, you know, pay $200 and you can win X amount of money and stuff like that. So I said, okay, let me just give it a shot, and I joined the site. Yeah, I think it was Spartan. Yeah, and my first tournament I came first, so I was like, whoa, this is something, you know, really great. And then I sent the picture to Shravan, and I was like, dude, what's going on the side? Why did I win my first tournament? And he started laughing. He's like, keep it up. And yeah, since I did not learn bankroll management and all back then, I landed up going to the cash tables and just blowing it up. And then yeah, I met Kunal actually in the Philippines when we went for the APT. I was actually on a holiday, so I said, okay, let me go and play. I played 2 tournaments over there. Then I came to know that, you know, Ada was sponsoring Kunal and stuff like that. And I think in early Feb this year, that's when I actually transitioned and, you know, started playing Ada more often. So yeah, I've been doing pretty well there.
Right, and you also told me about the fact that, you know, you deposited $800, and you made a lot of money off it. Like, what's the secret? Like, is it the fact that, you know, the first time you play a tournament, you have to win it in some form or the other?
I don't know. I mean, to be frank, the story of Ada was I deposited 800. I was actually, I think I was going to play a bounty event, you know, just for the sake of it. So it was I think a 300 buy-in. I entered into the tournament and I got knocked out within 5 minutes, and I was like, I was on tilt. So I had like what 500 left with me. I decided to go for a tournament which was worth 500 rupees. I came fourth in that, and yeah, so I made around 4,000 rupees over there. Then I think there was the DOPT that came up. I did sell my action on IPPA, and there was one guy who sent me a message saying that he did not want his name to be published. He bought my action, 40% of it, and yeah. So with his financing at the same time, you know, I had around 11,000, so I could do the entire DOPT except for the main events and the high rollers. So I played like around, I think, 4 tournaments per day, and to my luck, my first event I came first, so I shipped the first tournament of the entire series. So that gave me a good 30,000 straight up, you know. And I think that's where everything took off. And yeah, the later tournaments, I had some in the money. I had a few knockouts come in. The investor got a good return. I actually more than double of what he put. I wish I could give him something better. It was the first time selling action, to be honest. I mean, I was not too technical on the selling action part, but yeah, that's wherein I think I got my bankroll, and that's when I started taking off with other at the moment.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. And also, I've noticed that you are very meticulous about how you manage your bankroll. And I haven't really seen you taking too many big shots. Like I've seen you playing tournaments, or which are like reasonable buy-in. Never like the high roller or like the super huge buy-in tournament. Is that something you do like consciously, or is that like a strategy that you implement to kind of stay in the lane and like manage your bankroll better?
What I believe is, you should have at least 100 buy-ins as your bankroll, okay, before you enter into a tournament. That Because the thing is, there's no guarantee that you will always win a tournament. Okay, although poker is skill, but there is a luck factor that also can change everything. Okay, so what I do is, I play like 1% of my total bankroll. Now, of course, I started really small here, so I had to take a risk. It was either win or lose. But once I had the bankroll, then I basically just stuck to that 1%.
That's
So yeah, I
fantastic.
mean,
I mean,
sorry.
yeah, sorry to cut you off, but like a lot of people, speak about bankroll management, and to be honest, sort of everybody who dabbles in poker eventually hears the whole fact of you should have 100 buy-ins, and that's the right way to sort of approach. But like the new age poker players, especially like in the Indian, the circuit, like not a lot of people actually, are able to sort of use that to their advantage. Like bankroll management is something that everyone knows about, but like almost no one uses. Very impressive that you
Okay.
actually
Okay.
no, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, I think bankroll management is one of the most important aspects in playing poker. If you don't, bankroll properly, it's as good as you saying you're gambling. What I've noticed, I mean, while I was playing with Ada, I did manage to make a few friends who basically, took tips from me and stuff like that. Now, the main problem is, when do you cash out? Okay, I mean, you're playing for so long, you should know when to basically take out your money, or how much you need to take out. I mean, that's one factor which people really need to understand in the Indian market. I mean, what I do is, I mean, my strategy is, say for example, I have 10,000 in my account. Okay, the moment I reach 20,000, 2,500, I cash out. So basically 25% of whatever's my winning on the double is cashed out at any given point, and that's where my stakes increase as well. So I mean, now I had 10,000, now I have 17,500. So my next target is 35,000. So the moment I reach 35,000, that's where, again, 25% of that is being cashed out, double, and then 25% again. That's basically the structure that I follow. Now, what happens in that case? Now, for example, if I take a 1% a buy-in fee, in that particular situation, I know that if I win that particular tournament, I'm definitely doubling up my 100%. So if it's $100 tournament for that matter, okay, if sorry, a guaranteed $100 tournament, and I'm paying $1 to play it, okay, I know that I'm making at least 60, 70 bucks there if I win the tournament.
That's actually a quite an interesting way to like sort of make sure that you're not investing too much, or like you're not going out of line. But at the same time, like to have that kind of discipline, I think it's very impressive for, especially for like like a semi-professional poker player, or like a recreational player, which you are. Not a lot of people will do that. Like when you play recreationally, when you have another source of income, you sort of have this uh, you know feeling that you obviously have another way to like supplement your hobby, or poker for that matter. And those kind of things sort of make you go out of line, and maybe
Uh,
overextend.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
actually, the thing. Sorry, I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off. I keep forgetting the
It's
screen
all right.
keeps shifting.
Whenever you feel like you have something to say, just go for it. It's all right.
It was actually online that I realized, a poker player hates basically putting money into his bankroll. Okay, I learned it the hard way. Like I said, I mean, initially I did lose a lot. Okay, but eventually I got up, like picking it up $30 to $8,000 in a matter of 3 months. It has happened. So I mean, we're talking about figures which is not 100%, 200%, but 8,000%. So we these are basically figures that I have managed to achieve. But I would not have done that if I went beyond my bankroll management strategy. Of course, there was a time when I was unemployed. I was back in India, and yeah, I did manage to cash out around 3,600 USD, which basically took me for an entire year. I mean, that's where poker came in, basically saved me for a bit. And ever since then, I've gone off the grid for some time, but it's never been for more than a month. I keep coming back, and yeah, that's basically the situation.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Also, like, I actually wanted to ask you this before, but I couldn't get around to it. Like, what do you think is the difference between like a triple eight and a Spartan or Adda? What's the kind of like difference you see as a player? Because you've played a triple eight for a long time, and then you transition to Adda and Spartan and the other Indian sides. Like, what do you what is like the key differences that you personally experience?
I think the softwares. Most of them, the main concerns would be the software. Like for example, I mean, with tournaments and structures, I think Spartan is really great. Okay, I do. I mean, I've seen a few. I've played a few. They have the exact structures as Triple Eight. I mean, the timings and the blinds don't go up. On the other hand, there has been an issue with Adda, which I've highlighted to them, saying that after a certain level, it's a bingo game. I mean, you can't really play poker. There's no patience. You either shove or get out. Okay, so that's the situation that I faced with Adda. Now I am in touch with them, and they just got back to me, like saying that in the next 10-15 days they are introducing new structures, and apparently I'm going to like it. So let's just hope things work that way. With regards to I mean, of course, Triple Eight is an international standards, but no disrespect to any of the other sites. But yeah, I do enjoy playing on Adda because of the black screen. I mean, I just like the color black, and yeah, it looks a bit. The resolution can be improved. Ada, on the other hand, has come up with the new lobby features, which I think is brilliant. I mean, even Triple Eight can't match that. So I really, really enjoy that. The moment I seen that, I sent them a message. I was like, wow, this is something which will definitely up your standards. Now they have to work on a few things, but it just takes time, I guess. So we just have to wait and see.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm gonna give a few shout outs to a lot of our viewers. We have like a full house here in the chat. We have Gokul, we have Faiz, we have Yuvraj, Varun, uh, we have did I miss someone? Sandeep. Thank you for watching, guys. Yuvraj is here. Obviously there are some questions that are coming in, and we'd like to address the decent ones. So, I mean, you actually left the IPPA group. Is that's because yeah? The question is, why did you leave the IPPA group? So I'm not sure if you're there on the group or you're not.
I did not leave the group. I was actually banned from the group. I mean, I'm pretty open to say it. I mean, it was a bit too much pressure on Clavin and as well as what's his name, Dhaval. So yeah, it just got to a point wherein it's the mafia versus me, and that's where it took off.
No, but like when I'm actually sitting face to face with you and talking,
Mm.
you seem to be like a genuinely nice guy. Like how does a nice guy like yourself get into like these I mean, whatever arguments or debates or of whatever kind, and have those sort of like fired up conversations?
To be frank, I'm a very straightforward guy. If I don't like something, I'll tell you I don't like it, and I'll tell it to you straight to your face. I mean, it's not something that I will hide or probably just talk to someone behind my back. I'll come up to you and say, okay, you know what, I don't like what you said, or say someone if I put a comment and someone's unnecessarily commenting back, I'm definitely going to fire back because I don't take shit. It's as simple as that. And it just got to a point when there was a group, okay, and I'm gonna say this on the podcast, okay. This guy, I was dissing one of the guys, and all of a sudden there were a couple of guys who came in, and like I said, I'm not going to take any names. So this guy comes in and he starts swearing at me and tells me, okay, you meet me in so and so place, and gives me his address, his contact number, and stuff like that. It was a bit annoying, but then again, it was entertainment. I mean, I was laughing while while the entire chat was happening. And 2 days later, I think there was another post wherein he got tagged in the post saying that, why don't you say something? Hats off to the guy. He actually sent me a message saying that the entire group is basically has their money invested on one particular person, or the group has money invested here, wherein they're taking care of stables or whatever. And that they said that we don't know you personally, and we'd just like to apologize for everything. Like I said, no names. I have the chat with me, and yeah, so that's when I realized, although these guys do not want to support someone, they will go all out because they've got their money invested somewhere or the
Right. So yeah, yeah. So so obviously we spoke about stables, right? So
other.
what's your opinion about stables? Like, do you feel like the stables are actually ruining the ecosystem, or like are they good for the ecosystem? Like, what's your take on that?
On a very frank note, I mean, I do appreciate the effort that's being made. I mean, to basically improve what is happening in India. Okay, I mean, of course, today we are not. We just recently got onto a global stage. I do appreciate the efforts the guys are making, but the thing is that what I've noticed is I have a couple of names of people with multiple accounts, and we're talking about guys who basically made accounts under their father's name, mother's name, sister's name, brother's name. And it's like, sometimes when you see things happening like this, it's a bit worrisome because it's poker, it's a game. Come on, I mean, if you're looking to do something, at least do it the right way. Okay, and most of these guys have been part of stables. I have their names, but like I said, no names. I've not reported anyone, although I know they're actually into all this stuff. I had a long conversation with one of the guys telling me that if you want to win on a cash game, make sure that you have a friend sitting with you on the same table, and you guys are talking either on WhatsApp or Facebook or something like that. And I was like, no man, I mean that's a game of poker. I mean, that's a game I love. I mean, why should I cheat? I know I'm good at it. And that's basically a major downturn. But I don't see that happening much on other, but on Spartan, it's a lot. I think it's a lot over there.
Okay, so I mean, what you're saying is actually relevant to the Indian poker scene, because multi accounting is actually something which is very bad for the ecosystem. It's something which is very dangerous in terms of a lot of things. Like it spoils the ecosystem. It it takes disadvantage of recreational players or first time players, and which obviously discourages them to sort of continue. But as far
Mm-hmm.
as stables are concerned, so obviously there are a couple of stables in the Indian circuit or Indian environment, poker environment, where there is a bunch of people who are coaching and improving other people's games, where they are playing on behalf of obviously everybody can't afford to sort of like put up their own buy-ins or for whatever reason. And so these tables are there where they have like 10 to 15 players, where they are actually getting coached and they're getting sponsored to play cash games and tournaments and whatnot. uh, so isn't that something that you think so obviously multi accounting is wrong, and like you rightly said, it the way things are working, like people are having multiple accounts on their father's name and mother's name, which is something that is very risky. And I remember you telling us that how Triple Eight has their security system where you can sort of uh, pick up on the IP, and a lot of security measures that can be taken, which obviously should be taken in the Indian fraternity. But as far as tables are concerned, like so I'm of a point of view that stables sort of improve in some form or the other the environment, and for a country like India, it sort of like gives a boost to the poker ecosystem. So what's your take on it? Like, do you think about it the same way, or do you think like stables actually ruin it for someone like you, or like someone who's playing recreationally? Does it hamper that experience?
To be frank, like I said earlier, I've got nothing against tables. I'm happy they've actually been established. It gives them a very good opportunity for others to actually join. Probably people who don't have the money to actually try and get into the game, try and understand what is actually there. Put us on a global scale. Yeah, I definitely would appreciate that. But one thing that has not been taken into consideration is the action taken against players who have multiple accounts, people sitting on the same tables, basically friends or people of the same stable, sitting on the same table, telling each other what cards they have versus me. It does hamper the style of play, but then eventually it depends on who you're playing against. It's never affected me because I play tight and aggressive. So if I got something good, I got something good. I'm going for it. I don't care if you raise, he re-raises, you keep putting the pot. I'm willing to lose whatever I have with what I have. So that's basically what it is. This issue needs to be highlighted. It should be very clear amongst the stable members to have a fair gameplay. This should
Right.
be one of their
Right.
major rules. Now, sorry.
So I see what's your concern. Your concern is that the ethics of the game might be hampered when like more than one stable player is playing on the same table. So yeah, if that's your concern, then I think it's obviously a fair thing to be worried about, and it might. So obviously it doesn't affect you, but like if that actually happens, that might affect a lot of other people who obviously will be overfolding or overcalling, or like changing their decisions. So that
It's actually been happening. The whole problem is it has been happening. I mean, if at certain times, even on Adda, you look at probably Taj, Texas, or Bangalore, or Summer Shots for that matter. You have 4 tables. You have 3 people sitting on all 3 tables, and these are the guys who are always playing together. I mean, it just becomes too obvious that okay, they're part of something. Of course, by the nicknames, you won't really be able to identify them. But I like I said, there's no point reporting. I mean, these guys need to basically take matters in their own hands and basically ensure that we have a fair play. That is all I'm saying. And it's too obvious. I mean, if one guy raises, I raise. Someone else re-raises. This guy calls. I re-raise. This guy goes all in. This guy folds, and eventually it just gets to a point wherein that okay, anything this guy raises, this guy's gonna fold.
right. Did you like report it, or like how did you find out like these people were from a stable? Like, was there any chat or anything that you read which sort of gave you an idea
It's
about it,
it,
or like
it,
did you just
it,
guess
it's a gameplay.
from
It's a game.
experience?
It's a gameplay.
It's
I
so
think I
so
think.
basically like,
Sorry.
based on your experience, you saw the raise and re-raise, and like you sort of figured out that these guys have to be like colluding in some form or the other.
Colluding actually happens a lot. I mean, it happens a lot, but there will be a point when you'll realize that okay, these guys are talking. There's some way or the other. There is a chat happening. This guy would not fold against me, but the moment this guy raises, he goes in. So there have been a lot of talks about that, and yeah, I've been discussing the same with Adab. I did report a couple of them. I mean, especially if their name is like Wiki123, and then the next one is 1234. So Wiki123 and 1234. I don't know how do you decide to come up with something like that,
So
and
they
just
they probably
be
didn't
on the
think
same
too much
table.
about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Okay.
mean, yeah.
There was a question I wanted to get to. It's from Gokul Raj. So Gokul Raj wants to ask, like, is there a possibility, or like, is it part of your ambition to turn professional at any point of time, or is it something that you want to keep like a hobby or like a recreational sport?
I think I'm giving myself another 2 years. I mean, 2 years is when after which I'm looking to go professional. Okay, but then again, I need the numbers. I need to have enough bankroll to make sure I'm okay for the next 1 year. So that's basically there is a point. I mean, my wife supports me a lot with regards to going professional. She knows I'm really good at it, and I constantly get support from her. My family back in India also knows they're okay so long as I'm making money. So I think it will happen. It will happen really soon.
Right, right, right. So you're saying that in the next 2 years you'll sort of go pro, and once you go pro, like which location do you think is like the best for you? Like, would you like to go to Philippines, or because I think your wife is from Philippines, and that's why you had gone for a vacation there. So would you like to settle in Philippines? Like, what do you think? Which is a better place for, like, for a poker player to sort of take poker seriously? Because Go has limited options, and the other places are like borderline and coming and going. So what's your plan in that aspect?
I think I'll initially start with Southeast Asian countries and slowly move up the ladder, go to European, and then probably hit the World Series of Poker. I think that's basically my plan. I don't expect to get sponsored anytime soon, but I think my numbers will speak out in the next couple of years.
Right, right. So you also mentioned, like, your wife supports you. Like, how do you manage, because you have a full-time job, you also a family man, like, so how do you, like, sort of create a balance? Do you follow a schedule? Do you, like, have a set number of days you play, or an hours? Like, how do you, like, sort of balance this whole act? Because it's a lot of things, and there are only so many hours in the day.
To be frank, an average day will be, waking up in the morning, going to the gym at around 5 in the morning. Uh, I start work at around 8, finish off by around 5, and then I start playing around 8 o'clock onwards. That's Qatar time, so that's roughly around 10:30. I play till around 12 o'clock, sometimes till 1. Uh, Friday is my rest day. I mean, I keep that as a family day, wherein I don't touch poker at all. It's just movies and food and stuff like that. So we go out. Thursday night, which is tonight, after this call, I start. So these are like my personal times. And yeah, otherwise, Saturday I'm online from morning to evening. The entire day I'm playing almost every tournament. Let it be Triple Eight or let it be Adda 52 for that matter. So yeah, I think that's basically the way I plan it. I do take off days. I mean, if I have a bad beat, I take a day or two off so that I don't go on tilt. I do take a break, but when I come back, I'm really, really strong. So I think that's how it works.
So I mean, is that how you, like, sort of, like, get through downswings? Like, you take a break, you sort of give yourself some time to think over, like, the decisions. Is that your formula, or your, like, method of sort of coming out of a downswing or a bad day at the office? Like,
To be frank, we I've been training a few people as well in poker. I mean, we're like 4 of us maybe, and I mean, before I joined Adda, I mean, they're friends of mine from Bombay, and they were actually already on Adda, and they were telling me, Leon, I keep putting 2,000 every month and stuff like that. So I started training them on bankroll management. I started training them on what cards to play, what are you looking at, what are you expecting out of it, how do you play it, what are your situations. So we kept basically getting to a point wherein we started discussing on things, and whenever one of us basically got aggressive, we just told them to stop playing poker, go to bed, tomorrow's another day. And I think that was one particular thing that I did for myself, wherein I was easily able to vent especially losing pocket aces versus a 7 and 2 pre-flop all in. Oh my God, you just tend to lose it. And I think that's probably the way that I went out. After venting, I take a break for a day. I tell the guys, you know what, either I'm going out for a drink, or I'm going to do something else, probably watch a movie or something. I'll be back the next day. And yeah, that's basically how I've been working it.
That's awesome, man. And aces versus 7 2s is heartbreaking. Like you need a day for it. You need a day to
It
recover from that.
happened two
You
days ago.
probably do.
Yeah.
All right. I actually had something to ask you for a long time. Like this was a particular post, or I don't remember the exact specifics, and I remember chatting with you that night, and you know because there was this very interesting conversation that you were a part of, which was the fact that there was a discussion about the math behind poker, and for some reason you came across and you had a very different perspective on it. Like you sort of mentioned that it's not all math, right? There is some sort of gut feel and instinct, and like you had a different sort of explanation to how that particular hand or spot should have been played. So what's your like opinion on that? Like a lot of people use a lot of mathematics, probability, odds, and the other batch of people are more experience and gut feel and instinct, and they sort of rely on those factors. Like, so what's your stance on that? Are you a math guy, or are you like someone who from experience sort of plays spots differently, and approaches them differently?
To be frank, I mean, there's a lot to learn in poker. Okay, from probably playing since 2007. I'd say it's been like a good 10 years now. There is math involved, no doubt, but the level of mathematical thinking sometimes is a way too much. Okay, I mean, you can learn the basic stuff. You can count your odds. Okay, which is pretty normal. Okay, but telling me that, okay, even if you have a 7 and 2, you have a chance of winning it, is something that I would never play. Okay, so the entire conversation, of course, no doubt. If I'm not mistaken, it was Abhishek. Yeah, Abhishek. No, what is his name? Yeah, he's a nice guy. Does know a lot about poker, but my strategy will never include such sophisticated
Oh
math.
yeah, it was in fact Abhishek. Abhishek was advocating that the maths
Correct.
of that particular situation. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
There is a math factor, no doubt. But to be honest, to be successful, you don't need that much kind of math. I mean, probably you'll break your head just calculating stuff rather than actually playing the game. Rather than actually enjoying the game, you're more basically more calculating things than actually required. To be honest, gut feel. There is a luck factor in poker, no doubt. Okay, uh, your entire mathematics and your gut feel can go down the drains if you're not lucky. Okay, so irrespective whether it's maths, gut feel, or anything else to do with it, you have to enjoy what you're doing more than actually breaking your head trying to figure out, oh, you know what, I've got a flush, a nut flush coming up, or a gut flush coming up. You have to basically enjoy it. As if you're not enjoying it, there's no point playing the game. It's a game. You need to remember that.
Right, right. So obviously, like there there might be an argument for the fact that a lot of people use too much math and too much sort of calculation, and sort of move away from the fact that poker is like a social game, right? Poker is about talking to people, about meeting new people. But then the online poker, as far as like we've been seeing, is now becoming like more math and more probability. It's probably moving away from being that social and being more calculative and robotic. So
But
yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I mean,
the thing is, Richard, I used to use the hood when I was playing on Triple Eight, and of course, it tells you basically how well the player's been performing. It tells you, okay, what hands you should be playing and what are your chances, what are your odds. It was basically everything in front of a computer. And the day I went to Manila and I decided to play at Resorts World, I sat on the table and I was dumbstruck because I had no information. I had nothing with me. I mean, all I had was basically myself and the situation around me. How I had to analyze, basically players one by one myself. Okay. I did manage to reach the eighth level. I busted on pocket fives. Okay. I was low stack. Okay. But one thing I learned from them is I went straight to my computer. I deleted the hood. Tomorrow, I don't want to be a guy sitting in front of a computer all my life. I prefer going out to casinos, probably, meeting a lot of people, speaking to them, trying to get their tactics. You will never learn things if you use a hood. You need to be able to analyze, your opponents, just how the way they play. I've stopped using it, and right now, I think I've got my best scores without using it.
Right. So what do you think are like like your sort of tips for someone who's playing live for the first time, right? Like for example, like how you had that experience of like sort of a surprise, and that whole anxiety of not knowing what's happening and not having statistics on people. Like, what you would say, like through your experience, would like be a couple of tips for like people who are going to play for the first time, or are playing in a live setting and are not experienced as you.
Uh, to be frank, on a live setting, if you're playing versus a huge number of people, I won't expect you to adjust in probably the first 5 to 6 times. The reason why I'm saying that is my first time. I mean, although I have basically had really big scores on Triple Eight, not big for the mini scale big scores, but versus a huge number of people and stuff like that. I was actually struggling to stack my chips. I've never used chips in my life before. Okay, and even though I've used them, I did not know how to stack them. There's a certain amount. Even if you play a sit and go, okay, you have 2,000 chips, 10,000 chips you can stack. Now in Goa, I remember when I'd gone to Goa, I probably in the first 20 minutes I was on 35,000 chips, and I was literally struggling to take care of it. I started shaking. I mean that was a weakness probably I showed. It was my first really big tournament that I attended, and I think that was a point wherein I realized I need to get better at this. That's when a lot of home games started. Um, experience will take you a long way. Okay, my probably a tip is just learn how to bankroll yourself. You'll be fine. If you can bankroll in live, oh my God, you'll be a pro in no time.
Easier said than done, man. Like it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's probably one of uh, the hallmark of like a good poker player. Like background management probably is the first thing that a successful poker player would probably talk about, and only a handful can actually master it or actually stick to it. So yeah, it's not easy for us mere mortals, but it's actually a
Well,
very
it's basically being true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself. Never play poker with money you cannot lose. Okay, something that basic. I know. I've actually seen a couple of players actually on IPPA who have given up their lifestyles, basically trying to invest in poker, playing cash games, going totally broke. Okay, and that is something that is wrong. Like in a month, keep aside probably X amount of money. Okay, and the next time you decide to put money in, feel bad about it. Don't take it like that, oh, it's okay, it's only probably 2,000 rupees. No, man, it's 2,000 rupees is money. Treat it like something that you're going to probably use it in the future. I hate putting money ever again. I mean, Triple Eight and Ada, I've not deposited, I think, in the last more than a year, I would say. Triple Eight has been over a year. It's strictly because of bankroll management. You have to learn and be true to yourself. Otherwise, stop playing poker.
so you've historically always played tournaments more, or like do you also play cash games once in a while? Like what's your, like when you play online on Triple Eight and Adda, for example, like what are the games that you prefer, and like are there any special type of tournaments like that you're a specialist of, or like that you enjoy?
I enjoy playing deep stack tournaments, to be frank. I'm more of a tournament player than a cash game. I think just lately, ever since I've joined Adda, I've been playing a little bit of cash here and there. But my entire strategy is basically based on tournaments. So from stage one, stage two, stage three to the final table.
Right. So, what's your play style? Like you mentioned tight and aggressive. Like, is there like a particular sort of strategy that you adopt? Like, obviously, when you're playing tournament poker, like it's uh, it's a long haul battle. Like, there's a
Correct.
lot of factors involved. Like, what's your style or strategy, or like your because you have a 35% win rate. Like, that is better than a lot of people I know who sort of play poker professionally, right? What do you do different? Like, what's your like take on approaching the game?
I think there's basically steps. Each step, like you have a certain stage, like from I'd say 10, 20 blinds to 200, 100, 200. There's a certain style of play. From 200 to 800, there's a certain style of play. So I mean, the initial stages, I'm extremely tight. Okay, but when I have it, I have it. I'm ready to shove all in. Okay, I mean, it's mostly pockets that the high pockets, pocket aces, pocket kings. Those are the cards that I would ideally look at. Midway through the tournament, it's more of being aggressive. I mean, I open my range then, and I start going aggressive. Try and win the pot as much as you can. Try not to lose more than 50% of your total pot. I mean, your total stack. That's the strategy that I adopt. And on the final table, I'm normally tight, and if I have it again, it just goes shove, shove, shove.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. So like in terms of like your short-term goals in poker, what is the next thing that you want to do? And like when do we see you in India? Like in the live tournament circuit in India? Like when do we expect you?
It's going to be hard in India, to be frank, because the thing is, firstly, I come down and I come down for like just 7 to 14 days because I have to split my holidays. So one has to be in the Philippines, one has to be in India. So it's kind of a very short term that I come down, and then going all the way to Goa, spending 3 4 days over there. I don't think my mom and dad will be happy about that. But
Right.
on the other hand, in the Philippines, yeah, my wife actually stays pretty close to Resorts World. So the house is pretty close, and yeah, it's easy. I mean, just go there in the morning, come back in the night. It's pretty okay.
So that's
So I
that's like
think,
a poker vacation for you.
yeah, kind of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, like I said, what's like the short-term goal? Like, is there a particular tournament that you want to play? Is there amount of money that you want to make? Like, what's this year's like your poker ambition or goal?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually don't put any goals up. I mean, because the thing is, I don't like to restrict myself. Um, I just play whatever I can and whatever my bankroll actually permits me to. The moment I put a goal, the moment I reach it, I start, going on a different vibe after that.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. So, uh, I mean, we sort of know a lot about you, but like as far as your personal life, like where did you grow up? Like I think we stay not too far away from each other. You
Really?
grew up in Andheri, and I grew up in Matunga. And so what was childhood like? Are you like a sports person? Like what are your interests?
Yeah, I was a sports person. I was one of the top athletes in school. I used to be a runner. Now I'm pretty fat, but back then it was all the medals in the school. Apart from that, had talents like singing, dancing. I was a pretty fun guy, and yeah, I think that's basically my childhood. Did play football for the school. I was a forward. I moved to the mid position, went to the defender, finally the goalkeeper, and yeah, that's how it ended.
And then you
Yeah.
retired from football.
Then I retired. Yeah. After an injury, I had to retire. Yeah. I had a groin injury, so that's when it all stopped.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, we've sort of covered everything. I'm just sort of waiting if to see if we have any other questions. But before like I close, like I'd like to ask you, who do you think like the top poker players in India are according to you?
Top poker players. Very interesting question. I mean, for me right now, I think Raghav has been showing some really good figures. Kunal Patni is one of my favorites. Like I always keep railing him when he's on different in different locations. He keeps posting his Facebook updates. On the other hand, Shravan, I love the guy. I met him personally, and a great guy. We had a nice chat. We actually met in Goa as well. I sat with the table. I think this was at Anjuna Beach. Yeah, we sat on a table and we actually played a cash game. And he was trying to bully me all the time. So yeah, then we landed up meeting in Bombay, and it was pretty good. Yeah, I've had a nice chat. So I think three of them seem to have a lot of promise. On the other hand, I think what's his name? Uh, these are three guys I know. Dhaval
Abhishek
on
is
the other.
Abhishek is definitely not your favorite poker player.
Abhishek, I don't know. I'm not seen him play live, or I've not seen him play online. So I really can't say. Kunal on the other hand, he was one of the probably one of the best guys to talk to. I mean, one he had I had a lot of respect for him. Um, yeah, and I think what's the poker guru's name? Keep forgetting his name. The guy at the World Series of Poker. I keep forgetting his name. I don't know why.
Uh, Poker guru. Yes, Aditya Agarwal, intervention.
Aditya Agarwal. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I just his name just slipped off my mind. But yeah, I think these four guys are doing pretty well. And I keep seeing
Yeah,
updates.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, they've been definitely crushing the poker scene, and we wish them all the best. All our poker players doing India proud at the WSOP this year. Aditya Sushant, Shravan obviously made a final table recently, and Kunal again is an exemplary poker player who's been making us proud. Uh, so yeah, so basically I'm done. That's about all the questions I had for you. And before we part, I definitely like to say that your persona online and to like actually speak to you in person. I really think you're a super genuine guy, and you are in fact a superb guy to talk to, and they're really nice guy. And we wish you best of luck. We hope you continue crushing all the tournaments you play, and hopefully become a professional poker player very soon. Uh, uh, Anything you want to say? Like you want to give a shout out to any friends of yours? If you want to say something to your family, like you want to say something?
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, shout out to all my friends, Sadat, mom, dad, yeah, Karan, Rahil. Yeah, hi guys. I'm sure they'll be watching this probably later, or if they're not online right now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to contact me. You guys, I think my Facebook link should be on the page as well. So yeah, if you guys need anything, any help, any advice, anything that will probably make you a better poker player after this, okay, do feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to share with you articles.
All right. So you can obviously get in touch with Leon. His Facebook is on the Poker Rajas page. So which brings me to like the Poker Rajas page, like my YouTube channel, share it, subscribe it. It will sort of help me get the podcast out there. And if you enjoy it, definitely hit the like button. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Leon, for being with us. That's it from me today. But tomorrow we have Amin Razani from the SpartanPoker.com, who's going to come on the podcast. It's going to be in the afternoon for a change at 2 p.m. So definitely catch that, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Thank you so much, guys. Good night.